My name's Samantha. I'm here to talk about what it's like to be the sibling of someone with PTLS. I'm really excited to share my story. A little bit about myself is I'm currently studying communications and minoring in psychology at Boise State University, and I'm graduating in December with my bachelor's. Um, Another thing is I want to get my master's in speech pathology, and I could definitely thank my little sister for encouraging me to go that route. Um, I guess to get into this, I can start with the first question. How did your friends react to your sibling? Um, I think that everyone, from what I remember, everyone was very accepting of her, and everyone really liked her. She is on the high spectrum, so she isn't as different, I guess to say. Um, and so everyone really loved her. She was really funny. She had a she has a great personality, and she's just fun to be around. So everyone just loved her. It was obvious that she was a little bit different once you got to know her, but she's still really like a good person and just fun to be around. So everyone was really accepting. I've never had any issues with friends being not accepting of her. I guess the next question we can get into is a story about how you handled bullies around my sibling. So I never had a personal experience where someone has either bullied McKenna in front of me or has talked bad about her or done anything to like upset me and bully her. However, I have been around other special needs people in my younger school years that have been bullied in front of me. And it's really hard to see. I guess one example is I was maybe in fifth grade, and there was a girl named Kelsey. I'm assuming she's on the autism spectrum, but I do know that she does have a learning disability, and she is a little bit different than all of us. But I decided to, be her friend and get to know her. And she's awesome. We're still friends. She lives right down the street from my family. So we get to see her a lot. But one day I overheard some people talking really bad about her, about how she looked, how she dressed, and how she talked, and that she was just different. And so I decided to not sit with those friends, and I sat with Kelsey for the rest of the year. And that's how we became really good friends. And eventually I stood up for her and I, talked to those friends. I was like, hey, that's not cool. That's not okay to talk bad about someone a little bit different than you because we're all different. And yeah, I mean, that's happened in high school too, where someone is, a little bit different than everyone else in the class. And so, you know what? I'm going to be their friend. So I sat by them and my awesome new friend Nathaniel in class. We became really great friends, and I helped him with all of his different worksheets, and everything that he would get was a little bit different than us. So I'd sit down with my worksheet, he'd sit down with his worksheet, and we'd work together. So he learned things that I was learning, and then I even learned things that he was learning. It was kind of cool. But yeah, we became really good friends, and I think that broke the stigma of the special needs and just people being unaccepting. And it sucks to see that, but unfortunately, it's always gonna be around. But it's just kind of up to us to, prevent the bullying, stand up for them. The next question is, how do you feel about possibly being the sibling's caretaker in the future? Honestly, I didn't even think about that until very recently, when my mom mentioned it. Um, it's hard to think about that knowing that they might live with you forever one day, and not be able to, not even like drive themselves around to their work or to their special school that they have to go to, and you have to take care of them, make sure they're okay. It's hard to think about one day when I have my own family. They might still be in that house with me and my family, and I have to be with them all the time. But it's also kind of cool to think about because your sister's always going to be with you. And that bond might even become stronger one day. So it's it's good and bad to think about, but I mean, you kind of have to make the best of it. The question I'll talk about is whether or not I felt obligated to take care of my sibling. I would say, yeah, I did when I was younger, especially when my mom had to go to work, or when she'd have to run to the store and just wanted to do a quick run and didn't want to bring us. It it was hard because I felt like I had to always take care of her. And it was harder to take care of her because she was picky with her foods. She didn't want to sit down and color. Instead, she wanted to be alone in her room and play with dolls. So personally, I almost felt like a bad babysitter. But now that I realize it, you can't force them to do things they don't want to do, or force them to eat things they don't want to eat. You just have to make note of it and just let your mom know after. And I guess try your best to, make them a quesadilla, sit it down in front of them, and pray to God they eat some of it. But it was really hard because it's not like normal babysitting. You really have to tend to their needs very closely, and try to get them to do things and even listen to you. Even that's harder. Next question is, what are some of the positive things about being the sibling? I guess that kind of goes with like living with them. It's fun. It really is. It's really cool being the older sibling because you're their role model and you have to influence your decisions. So when they look up to you, they see the positive, and you hope that they look up to those good decisions and then base theirs off yours. So it's really cool being the role model in her life. And the next question is, was there any trouble coping with being a sibling of a child with special needs? I would say yes, absolutely. It was very hard to cope with it and just get used to it, just because I had a lot of resent towards not being able to go certain places because either she just didn't want to go and she would throw a fit, or there was taxidermy in the restaurant, so we didn't go to the restaurant, and just little things like that. We just couldn't do certain things because it just wouldn't work with her having her there. And that is hard. That's really hard. And I guess another thing is I couldn't help her, get through certain things when I wanted to. Like, being afraid of taxidermy. I wanted to just sit in a restaurant and, eat a good meal. And when we did, and there was taxidermy, I tried really hard to make funny jokes about it, or, let's name the cow head on the wall, or little things like that, and it still didn't help. When sometimes it does with like other normal siblings. But she was really stuck on fears. She was really stuck on just being afraid of things, and it's hard to help her with that. The next question is, do you feel that siblings go through different stages? Yeah, I definitely noticed that she did go through a lot of stages in her life, especially with fears. She was afraid of a lot of loud noises. She was afraid of big crowds, and she's still afraid of taxidermy. That hasn't changed yet. But even just having anxiety, that has calmed down a lot, and I think that has a lot to do with Kane, her service dog. But even with that help with Kane, she definitely has changed a lot. She's okay with being home alone now. Back a couple years ago, she was not okay with being home alone. If you went to go do yard work outside and she noticed that you weren't there, she would scream, cry, panic, and just go crazy looking for you. And now, if you leave her alone in the house and go outside, go get the mail, something like that, she doesn't freak out. She's okay with it. Half the time she doesn't even notice anymore. Yeah, but they definitely go through different stages, and it's cool to see them change. Because, I mean, as a psychology, as someone studying communication psychology, it's kind of cool to learn about those certain stages in class and then notice it in your sibling. That's pretty neat. Next question is, how did your family talk about the genetic disease of the child? Before we knew that she had PTLS, they would just say that, yeah, she had a little bit slower learning disability. She's on the autism spectrum. She's different. Just things like that to try to explain it when we didn't have a good explanation. But now that we have a final explanation, and know what she has, it's really cool because now you can go into the science of it and say, it's this has changed inside of her and this causes this, and like you can go into the science of it and explain it, and it's really cool. But as soon as we found out, I remember my mom sat us all down and explained it, and it was just cool to finally have an answer on exactly what she has, and now we can prepare for the future. And even with health problems, she had open heart surgery. Um, we know kind of what to look for now, which is really cool. So having answers is a lot better than not having any anymore. And explaining it to all my friends, I love explaining what PTLS is to everyone that asks. I'll wear my sweatshirt around campus, and people stop me and be like, "Oh my gosh, what's that? Like, what's the key mean?" And I think it's really fun to explain it to people because everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know what that was." And it's just really cool to teach people about that. And then the next question is, do you think your sibling syndrome affected your personal growth in regards to development, maturation, independence, and strategies for facing adversity? 100% yes. I mean, growing up, I feel like I matured a lot faster because I had to be the not really the adult in her life, but the solid person that she can rely on in her life. I feel like I developed really fast too, mentally. And I just noticed a lot of little things more. Just even when she was upset, she her body posture changed, or just little things like that. And I noticed it faster, and it was really cool. Independence, that's kind of a hard one. I don't think I really developed on independence. I think that all depends on, the parenting, and like, I don't know. That's a really hard one. Independence. I do feel like I am very independent now, but I think that has a lot to do with other things that I went through in my life, and what we went through as a family. And strategies for facing adversity, 100%. Yeah, I feel like I definitely have improved in noticing adversity and diversity. So, I mean, for example, I now notice when someone has a little bit of a learning disability or they're a little bit slower, and I can definitely adapt to that. And that includes body posture, the way I'm speaking to them, not in a bad way, but like just so we're both on the same page. It's really cool because now I'm just a little bit more sensitive to people that are like my sister in terms of learning disabilities, autism, PTLS, things like that. Next question is, what other support do you think other siblings would benefit from getting? Any support they can get. So if they're really struggling with feeling resent, or they feel like they do have to take care of their sibling a lot, I think anything, family, go to your family, go talk to your mom or dad about it, and hopefully they can help you get through it, and maybe even change some like common things that they do in the household to kind of make it more inclusive for everybody, or like if you want to go to a restaurant that the special needs sibling doesn't want to go to, maybe one of the parents can take that sibling out to the restaurant, like just by themselves, and go like have a little like bonding adventure together, which would be really fun. But other things like therapists, counselors, even friends, 100% go to them. Yeah, like if it's really bad and you feel like friends and family aren't really helping, you need someone neutral, definitely go talk to a therapist or a counselor at your school, or just someone not in your school. Like hire a counselor or a therapist. I went to a therapist for a couple years, and it really did help me adapt to getting along with my sister better, and then getting along with my family better too, in terms of just adapting to the special needs and things that revolved around that. Yeah, any support is the best support that's healthy and works for you. The last question is, do you have any advice for other siblings of people with PTLS? And I do. Definitely have patience. It takes a lot of patience to get through that and to adapt to this whole situation. Um, just know that they are different, and they see the world in a whole different way than you. And it's cool to see that and notice it when it does come out. But definitely be um, patient, and just, just have fun. Just try to like learn what they enjoy doing and then do it with them. If they prefer coloring over, you know, riding a quad on the farm, color with them. Absolutely. Sit down, print out some coloring pages, or grab a coloring book and go color with them. If they like playing dolls, or they even like card games, play Go Fish with them, go play dolls with them. It's a lot of fun because it kind of brings out the kid in you. And yeah, I mean, it's really cool being the sibling of someone with PTLS, because it has taught me a lot, and has definitely influenced what I want to do in my future. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone's having a great week. And yeah, thank you. Bye.